Okay, besties, before we even get started, hit that like, comment, and subscribe button right now. It helps me so much with the algorithm, and honestly, it just makes me feel loved, okay? Like, don't leave me hanging. I see those analytics. I know half of y'all watching aren't subscribed. Fix it. All right, let's get into today's video because, oh my god, I have so much to say. You know what? SSERAFIM, I will always respect a diss track. There's just something so bold about standing in the middle of the noise and turning it into art, right? And that's exactly what Spaghetti feels like. This glossy, weird, funny, self-aware little declaration that no matter what people say, you're still going to talk about them. Whether you love them or can't stand them, you're still feeding into the cycle. Hence, bad dish in between your teeth. You chew on the topic, you spit it out, and you come right back for another bite. And honestly, that idea fits them perfectly. SSERAFIM has always been this group that exists in tension, between high fashion and chaos, between perfect choreography and a sense that they're in on the joke. They debuted with Fearless, which already had people talking about confidence and femininity and what that even means in a K-pop landscape that's obsessed with perfection. Then they dropped ANTIFRAGILE and went full postmodern, like, yeah, we fall apart but we come back stronger. And now Spaghetti comes along and says, okay, now we're just going to make fun of you for talking about us? That's kind of genius. I love that Spaghetti isn't pretending to be deep. It's messy and unserious, but that's the point. It's basically performance art about being a pop group that's so scrutinized that even breathing wrong becomes a discourse. They're saying, we know you're watching, we know you're analyzing, and we're going to make a song that sounds like the inside of a TikTok comment section. It's absurd, but that absurdity is the flex. And the lyrics? They're hilarious in a very pointed way. What about your diet? Oh, I see you sneaking a bite. That's such a perfect mirror to the kind of weird parasocial nitpicking idols get. Fans and haters acting like nutritionists, stylists, and psychologists all rolled into one. They flipped it into a punchline. It's taunting, but it's not angry. It's playful. Like, if you're going to keep talking about us, at least make sure we look good while you do it. Even the vocal delivery. There's something purposefully nasal and mocking about the chorus. It sounds bratty, like they're doing an impression of people doing impressions of them. They're trolling the trolls, basically. That's what makes it so smart. You can't parody them if they parody themselves first. And that's kind of what SSERAFIM has been building toward. Fearless was about reclaiming confidence after loss. ANTIFRAGILE was about resilience and transformation. Eve, Psyche, and the Bluebeard's wife was about forbidden curiosity and the freedom to want. Perfect Night turned that energy into something almost Western and carefree. We don't need to win, we're just vibing. And Spaghetti feels like the chaotic cousin that ties it all together. It's like, okay, you've seen us strong, mysterious, and soft, now see us ridiculous. Because strength isn't always serious. And honestly, that's what's so refreshing about this era. They're letting themselves be unserious without losing the confidence that defines them. It's the same kind of playful arrogance you see in Eve Psyche, but this time it's coated in irony and pasta metaphors. It's not, we're above your opinions, it's, your opinions are kind of funny to us now. That's growth. I also think it's a subtle dig at the culture around them. Hybe is a massive corporation, and yeah, it's easy to roll your eyes at corporate rebellion. But within that machine, the girls have managed to carve out an identity that actually feels like self-expression. It's polished rebellion. They take trends that could feel soulless and twist them into commentary on the fact that they're trending. They're aware of how artificial pop can be, and they lean into it with a wink. And visually too, the Spaghetti teaser images and MV snippets are camp. They're not afraid to look a little ridiculous. It's that self-aware aesthetic where you can't tell if they're being serious or trolling. That tension is what keeps people hooked. Because if you get it, you're in on the joke. And if you don't, well, you're still watching. That's what I mean when I say they're too trendy to be counterculture, but too self-aware to be mainstream. They live in that middle ground. They're a product and a parody of pop at the same time. And that's fascinating. It's why people either stand them hard or feel weirdly annoyed by them, because they refuse to give you a clear emotional lane. The thing about Spaghetti is that it weaponizes attention itself. It's literally about the act of being consumed, how you can't escape being eaten up and discussed once you're in the spotlight. It's satire, but it's also a statement of power. Like, you can't cancel us if we're the ones writing the joke, and that's what makes it such a good diss track. You can tell the members are having fun with it too. There's this sense of looseness in their delivery, like they're not trying to impress anyone. They're teasing each other, teasing us, teasing the whole system. It feels alive, and that's something you can't fake, even with the biggest budget in the world. If I'm being honest, sometimes it felt like their previous concepts were trying too hard to be profound and the music didn't always hit that same emotional core. But with Spaghetti, it all clicks because the chaos has purpose. It's ridiculous in a way that reflects real life. The noise, the opinions, the constant cycle of love and hate online. It's them turning that digital mess into art. I also love how they've turned the haters' language into lyrics. Stuck in your mind, that SSERAFIM bad dish in between your teeth. That line alone feels like a Twitter thread condensed into one bar. It's exaggerated and unserious, but it still stings. Because it's true. People talk, people judge, and yet they keep tuning in. Les Seraphim wins either way. And maybe that's what their entire artistic identity has been leading toward. The idea that femininity, confidence, and power don't have to look one way. You can be composed in one era, unhinged in the next, and both are equally valid. They're redefining what it means to be put together. Sometimes being fearless means laughing at yourself, embracing cringe, and dropping a song about spaghetti just because you can. It's honestly kind of brilliant marketing too. A song called Spaghetti is instantly memeable. People are going to talk about it whether they like it or not, and once you listen, the layers start to show. The self-awareness, the commentary, the humor. That's how pop music should work. It catches your attention with something silly, then sticks with you because it's actually saying something. And I know some people rolled their eyes when they first heard the teaser, like, this sounds awful. But that's the point. It's supposed to sound off-kilter and weird. It's them saying, you'll still stream it. And you did. We all did. Because they've mastered that mix of irony and sincerity that defines modern pop. What I find especially clever is how they contrast the production with the message. The beat is bouncy and mechanical, very trendcore, very Gen Z internet aesthetic, but the lyrics are biting. It's like they're dancing on the line between authenticity and performance. They're daring you to figure out what's real. And maybe that's why I can't stop thinking about them as artists. Les Seraphim isn't just reacting to criticism, they're reframing it. They're saying, yeah, we hear you, but we're not shrinking for you. That's confidence. That's fearless energy carried into a new form. Honestly, I could talk about this forever, because I think we're watching a group figure out how to survive and thrive in a time when everyone has an opinion. They're learning to turn the noise into fuel, and Spaghetti is that philosophy in a song, messy, funny, unapologetically self-aware. And look, maybe it's not the most musically groundbreaking track ever. It's not trying to be, but it's cohesive. It works. It captures a very specific emotion. The exhaustion of being watched and the thrill of turning that into power. That's art. So yeah, Les Seraphim, you've officially made me a believer in pasta-based empowerment anthems. You took something that could have been a meme and made it meaningful. You found the balance between mockery and sincerity, and for that, I salute you. Anyway, that's all I've got before I spiral into another rant about how Eve's psyche walked so spaghetti could twirl. If you're still here after all that, first of all, thank you, I love you, and second of all, comment still stirring the pot so I know you made it to the end, because clearly we're all just here, sharing a big messy bowl of discourse together.